Del McGee, Kirby Smart, and the Georgia Bulldogs will once again have one of the best running back rooms in the entire country for the 2023 season. But I have one big question mark with this running back room, and it's who's going to be the pass catcher, right? 2 years ago, it was James Cook who led the way at running back in the receiving game. He caught 27 passes in 2021. Last year, it was Kenny McIntosh who led the way. He caught 43 passes last year. He's now gone. They have to replace him. And if you're a Georgia fan who watched closely last year, you know Todd Monken loves to throw to the running backs. And the last 2 years, he had a guy who had the versatility and was able to make plays out of the backfield, catch the ball down the field. This year, I'm not sure who that's going to be. My first guess is Daijun Edwards, who caught 14 passes last year. But after that, it's kind of slim pickings. And I don't know if Daijun Edwards is a guy who can catch 43 passes in a season for 505 yards and 2 touchdowns like Kenny McIntosh did last year. So it's important, especially in Todd Monken's offense, to distribute the ball to different guys, obviously, but you still need someone reliable out of the backfield who you can check the ball down to, or send on a wheel route down the field. James Cook was excellent at that. He made lots of plays down the field in the passing game for Georgia in 2021, and Kenny McIntosh did the same thing last year. And I'm just not sure there's a running back on the roster right now who brings that versatility and that ability to make plays in the passing game like Kenny McIntosh and James Cook did. So I do think overall, this is more of a tackle-breaking room. You got 3 guys who are 220 pounds or more: Kendall Milton, Branson Robinson, Andrew Paul. Those guys are 220 and heavier. Roderick Robinson, the talented freshman they have coming in out of San Diego, he's 230, right? So these are big, heavy dudes who can run, but they're tackle breakers. They're not guys who can make plays down the field that we've seen. I don't think they're gonna be guys who are gonna do that in 2023. So if you're looking to replace that production, and they have to, right? You have to have someone. You're not gonna ask Daijun Edwards to catch 43 passes. That's just not his game. But he does have reliable hands. They're not perfect, but he's a guy who can make plays out of the backfield. He did that in high school, catching the football, getting upfield. He's got some shiftiness to him. He can make guys miss. He can get open on his own. I'm not saying he's the same type of route runner that James Cook and Kenny McIntosh is, but I think he's better suited for the job as the pass-catching running back rather than Kendall Milton, who is just a little heavier, right? And he's not as shifty, not able to make as many guys miss in the open field, or put his foot in the ground, go one direction, and get open in the passing game, be a reliable target for Carson Beck or whoever wins that quarterback job, right? So as good as these guys are, and I think they are going to wear down defenses left and right next year. These are guys who are strong, powerful backs, with deceptive speed, right? But Daijun Edwards, I do think he's going to have to pick up that productivity and pick up where Kenny McIntosh left off with catching the football. If he can't, if you're Todd Monken, do you just kind of change your offensive philosophy to where you have to, call what suits the talent that you have on the roster? Or do you say, hey, Daijun, we need you to catch more passes. We need you in a different type of role this year. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but these guys are going to run through you, not necessarily run by you down the field trying to catch passes. But, do you replace those 43 catches that Kenny McIntosh had? A lot of them are going to go to Daijun Edwards, I think. Does that mean Brock Bowers gets more touches in a different way? Does that mean Oscar Delp has more of a role? I don't know, but Todd Monken has to figure out, hey, the last 2 years I've had a very reliable, dependable pass catcher out of the backfield. Who is it going to be this year? Daijun Edwards is my pick, and I think he's, he rushed for 771. I didn't realize that last year, but he's a good runner, and he does break tackles, but he's more of a guy who can make you miss compared to the rest, and that's someone, that's a trait that you like if you're throwing the ball to guys out of the backfield. So that's the one question mark I have for this room. And we've seen, Georgia have guys who can make plays out of the backfield just about every year, whether it was Sony Michel, DeAndre Swift, James Cook, Kenny McIntosh. Before that, Carlton Thomas, name blast from the past. He could catch passes out of the backfield. But you always want one guy, right? It just expands the offense. It expands what you can do, and it makes an offense that more dangerous. If you have a guy out of the backfield who can run a wheel route, beat linebackers who are trying to cover them down the field. I mean, Stetson Bennett loved throwing to the running backs. I don't know if Carson Beck's going to have that same, he's not open. Where's my running back, out there somewhere? Because I just don't think the pass catching talent is there. Maybe I'm wrong. But when I look at this running back roster, that's the biggest question I have. How do you replace Kenny McIntosh? You've got 43 passes. That's a lot. That's a lot for any running back across the country. How do you replace that? Where do you go? I'm not a play caller in the NFL just yet. Maybe one day I will call plays for a major college football program. It's not going to be anytime soon, but Todd Monken is the best at what he does. He's the best play caller in college football. If he stays around, he's going to need to, look in the mirror and say, where do those 43 touches go? Who is going to have to stand up or step up, either at running back, or does that mean, more passes to the tight end? And I think Georgia fans would be perfectly fine with that. Brock Bowers should have another monster season. Best player in college football, in my opinion. I've said that multiple times. I think I said that last year. Was there anyone last year who was better at their job than Brock Bowers was at playing tight end for the University of Georgia? I don't think so. And it's just not fair to everyone else that this guy is coming back again. He'd be catching passes for the 49ers right now and the New England Patriots and be a very good NFL player right now. But he's coming back next year. He's going to get passes thrown his way. But I think Oscar's going to get some more passes thrown his way. Dominic Lovett is going to help out in the receiver room. We don't know where Ra Thompson is going to be, but the weapons are there. I'm just not exactly sure they're there at the running back position. Because again, they got some bruisers. They got some guys that will truck you and keep going. They've got yards after contact, tough, physical, tackle-breaking guys. And this is probably the heaviest running back room I've ever seen Georgia have. Branson Robinson is all muscle at 220. That's as close to Nick Chubb, I think, as Georgia fans are going to see. Dude's just a freak, built, right? Not necessarily built like James Cook or Kenny McIntosh, where you can tell him to go run some routes to catch the ball. Kendall Milton, the same way. We've seen him run through tackles. Not the fastest guy. I wouldn't call any of these guys necessarily fast. You can't just throw the word fast out there. Daijun Edwards has some quickness to him. And I think Branson Robinson, is somewhat fast for 220 pounds. But none of these guys are lightning fast. And they're not Nick Chubb fast, I don't think. They're not DeAndre Swift fast. They're not James Cook fast, right? But these guys are going to break a lot of tackles. And they're going to pound linebackers and defensive backs over and over this year. These are guys who are tough to tackle. And that's great. They've got a lot of guys who can move the chains, get you 3 yards on a 3rd and 2, finish strong at the goal line, get in the end zone. These are tough to bring down, these backs that they have right now. But at the end of the day, it's really nice to have someone that you can rely on out of the backfield. And this is the one year where I think they don't necessarily have a big-time weapon who can catch the football out of the backfield. And we'll talk about this, throughout the offseason, because Georgia, I think, should be the #1 team heading into the season. And as good as they are, no team is perfect. So, I'm trying to figure out, with the easy schedule that they have, it's not their fault, but it is a very easy schedule, where are the weaknesses on this team? Where might they have some trouble doing what they want? And maybe it is finding a reliable pass catcher in the running back room. Maybe that's it. I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't see a guy on the roster like James Cook, like Kenny McIntosh, where they can say, hey, run a wheel route, beat this linebacker down the field, and pick us up 30 yards. Or in James Cook's case, against Michigan, we're going to throw a bomb down the field to you. I just don't see it. Maybe I'm wrong. If I am, drop a comment in the section below. But I think Daijun Edwards is the running back right now. I think probably has to step up a little bit more and do some more things that are going to be asked of him as far as catching the ball out of the backfield. He can do it, and again, he caught 14 passes last year, but Kenny McIntosh caught 43. That's a lot, and they do like throwing to the running backs, especially when you have tough physical, receivers on the outside who are going to open up holes for you, or on the perimeter. I mean, we saw over and over again, especially early in the year, get the ball out quickly to Kenny McIntosh, let him run behind Marcus Rosemy on the outside, Darnell Washington, get the ball to your running backs out in space, and sometimes you have to throw it to them. And I think Dejan Edwards is probably the best pass catching back that they have right now. So he might be a guy who catches a lot more passes. Someone has to, right? So who's it going to be? I think it's Dejan Edwards. What do you think? Drop a comment in the section below. Thanks for watching this video. We always appreciate it. Stay tuned to the next video coming up right now, and I'll see you over on Dog Post.